Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in the Holy Quran, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, surely Allah commands justice and doing of good to others and giving to the kindred, and He forbids indecency and evil and rebellion. He admonishes you so that you may be mindful. Now today I want to talk about something which is an experience which all of us in this room have. An experience which we are all forced to live and to understand because we are Muslims who live in the West. We are Muslims who live in Scotland, away from Islamic lands. Sometimes it feels like we are under a microscope. When we are going about our day-to-day lives, whether it be in school, university, college, at work, or even in the street, it feels like we are being watched. It feels like we are being judged. Whether it be the hijab in which our women wear, or the dress in which our men wear, whether it be our beliefs that we espouse, whether it be our salah when we are working, something which we all encounter. Even the other day, when I was praying in work, somebody came into the prayer room because it is used as a medical room, and they saw me doing my salah, and they began to speak to me during my salah. And obviously we had to ignore them, and I had to carry on with the salah. Afterwards, they questioned me, why didn't you speak to me? What is this prayer you are doing? Why are you going down on your knees and putting your head on the ground? So it's something that we all experience, and it's something we all have to deal with. And it might feel like there is pressure on you in order to deal with this in the right way. And in a way it is correct. There is a pressure for you to deal with these interactions and to deal with these realities which you are going to be faced with. But we shouldn't fear it as a negative thing. We shouldn't be scared of these interactions. Instead, we should think of it in an opposite way. We should think of it as a task or a mission which Allah Azza wa Jal wants us to be faced with, wants us to take part in. And we need to change our perspective regarding our religion and living in the West as Muslims. We should see it as an opportunity. And we should see it as an opportunity because we have been born, or we have migrated into these lands, and therefore we need to live in them. We need to understand the reality of the way of life which we are going to live. And most importantly, we need to understand that we have a duty and we have an obligation as being role models, as being representatives, ambassadors of the religion of Islam in a country where the religion of Islam is often demonized or looked down upon. In the Quran, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells us something incredibly powerful. He says that you are the best nation raised for mankind. You enjoin what is right and you forbid what is wrong, and you believe in Allah. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in this ayah says that you are the best nation. Why does Allah say this? What is the purpose behind Him telling us this? He is calling us the best nation not because we are perfect individuals, not because everyone here is ma'soom and that we do not sin and that we do not do anything wrong. No. He is giving us this term of the best nation because He entrusted us with a duty. And that duty is to encourage good, to stand against evil, amr bil ma'ruf wa nahy anil munkar, and to have true iman, to have true faith in all of the tests in which we are going to be faced with. And how are we going to react in this best way? How are we going to fulfill these duties which He wants us to do? And the most effective way is by being and by setting a good example of a Muslim who lives in the West. Why? Because our actions, the things that we do in our lives, the way in which we interact with people, the way in which we deal with people, is the most important thing for opening the eyes, not just of the West, but of the entire world to the beauty of our religion and to the fantastic, powerful, important lessons which this religion can bring to a person. The example that I can give to illustrate this is that the society or the community which we live in is like a human body. It's like an individual's body. If some of the body parts act out of place and they do not fulfill their duty, for example, if they are being selfish, the hands and the feet, and they did not cooperate with one another, then they would become disjointed. And if the eyes did not cooperate with the legs, then a person wouldn't know where to walk, and they may walk into something dangerous and end up killing themselves. Or if the mouth only contents itself with eating food and it does not have any connection to the stomach, it does not know what it is processing through the mouth, then the stomach will become ill, will become upset, and the body will be faced with an illness. And if all of these parts of the body do not connect with each other and do not align in the exact same way and fulfill their duty and function, then eventually the whole body will fail and will die. The same thing goes for that individual body part which failed to do its duty. If the eyes are not paying attention and not doing its duty, then it will lead to a catastrophe, and ultimately that eye which failed and was selfish will also die as well. Therefore, when I say that we all have a duty to play, we do not just have a duty to ourselves and to fulfill our individual roles which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave us, but we also have to fulfill the roles and the duty of the people around us, the community around us. And this doesn't necessarily just mean the Muslims who are around us. It doesn't just mean the Shias who are around us. It means anybody, whether they are people of religion or no religion. We have duties towards them. We have obligations towards them. And fulfilling these in the correct way is the most important way that we live our lives and that we showcase our beautiful religion to them as well. Of course, the greatest example of telling us how to live is none other than Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa and Ahlul Bayt alayhi wasallam. These are the role models, these are the guides which gave us a step-by-step practical guide in how to become the best individuals that we can, not just for ourselves to please Allah on the Day of Judgment, but also to the communities around us as well. When I talk about Rasulullah, when you look at the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, even before he started preaching the message of Islam in Mecca, people already knew Rasulullah as an extremely trustworthy figure. They even went to the extent that they nicknamed him al-Amin, meaning that he is the trustworthy one. This is before he introduces himself as a prophet and before he starts spreading the message of Islam. So we see that the character of Rasulullah is one which is perfect in its essence. It is a character which we should all emulate to try and be like. It doesn't matter if a person has no religion. They still must have morals within them, no? They still must have something within their soul which recognizes that they have to be good to people around them. They have to take care of other people, whether or not they agree with them, whether or not they are on the same side as them. Not everybody has the same view, and therefore the respect must be shown to every individual. The character and the honesty of Rasulullah was so undeniable that even his enemies, whether they be before he started preaching Islam or of course after he started preaching of Islam, could not fault his character, could not try and defame him successfully, because everybody knew that this is a trustworthy man, this is a reliable man, he has done no harm to anyone, he has not insulted anybody, he has not abused anybody. And it was to such an extent that even his enemies would trust him with their own possessions, with their own material things that they had. They would leave it in the possession of Rasulullah. They would trust that he wouldn't do anything to it. And this teaches us the first big lesson which we need to take away. Our path to inviting people to Islam and to our perfect religion starts with our akhlaq and with our behavior and with our etiquette towards people. We need to ask ourselves, when I'm in school, or whether I'm in college, or whether I'm in work, do people know me as an honest person? Do they view me as a trustworthy person? If they tell me secrets, will I keep their secrets hidden? I will not spread them to people around me. Do they see me as someone who they can rely on if there is a project which is due for the group? Can they rely on me to do the part which I'm supposed to play, or will I be a letdown for them? Will I be a failure? Will I cause hardships for them? If we look at ourselves in this way, we can try and evaluate whether or not we are on this true Muhammadan approach, or whether we are straying away from it. Whether we are people of good character and good akhlaq, or whether we are people who are untrustworthy, people who are unreliable, people who are not polite, people who are not respectful to others. Let's take an example. We say that we need to be good individuals, we need to fulfill our duties and our obligations. One of the examples we can use is in terms of the concept of stealing. Stealing does not always take the form in which we commonly associate it with. When somebody thinks of somebody stealing something, they put themselves in the mindset that it means that somebody has gone and physically grabbed the possession of someone. Maybe they have robbed them of their phone, of their money in the street. But this isn't the only form which robbery takes, which stealing takes. Stealing or theft can take different forms, such as people claiming things which they are not supposed to be claiming for. I touched upon it before. For example, taking money from the government, benefits. We Iraqis in the UK, in the West, we love to claim benefits. We love to claim money from the government when we know sometimes that we are not entitled to do it. Now, we can look at this and we can say that it is just a small thing, it does no harm, this government is evil and it does so many bad things, therefore if we steal a bit of money from them, it's okay. This is wrong. This is not a correct thing to do. Yes, the government does many bad things and it uses your money in inappropriate ways. But the minute you start telling them that you need money when you don't, and you lie to them, you are not doing some big justice to the world. What you are doing, in fact, is you are creating a disease within your heart. A disease which, first of all, is accustomed to lying. You become a liar. Lying in any sense, apart from in taqiyya, in certain instances, is not acceptable. Secondly, you become a thief. And when someone starts off with something small and they take this little bit of money, it begins to grow on them, it begins to grow in their heart, this poison. If I can take a little bit of benefits, asylum, job seekers allowance, anything like this, just a little bit of money, it won't do any harm. Suddenly you have more money. The craving for this material wealth begins to grow inside your heart. Maybe I will start stealing from this person I don't like. Then I will start stealing from my friends. Then eventually I start stealing from my family. And you see this in Iraq. Sometimes in Iraq people say, oh, why did my own brother, why did my own sister, my cousin, why did they steal money from me? They are like my relatives. It is systemic. First of all, the person starts being corrupt. He starts stealing from the government. Then he starts stealing from people he doesn't like. Then he starts stealing from people he does like. Eventually, his heart is so corroded and poisoned that he begins to start stealing from his own family. Therefore, staying away from this stealing or this lying in any sense is of the utmost importance. Furthermore, in relation to this topic today, setting good examples. Unfortunately, a lot of people in the West, British people, Scottish people, English people, they look at Muslims and they say, these people come to our country and they steal money from benefits and they steal money from the government. And we can't turn around to them in many cases and say, no, this is a lie, because we know it is not. Therefore, if this is their perception of Muslims, then this is also their perception of Islam as well. And therefore, you have created the third issue, which is that you have made your own religion, this religion of Rasulullah, look dirty, look like a religion of lying, look like a religion of stealing. And this isn't just an injustice and a sin to yourself, this is an injustice towards Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You have dirtied your own faith in the eyes of the non-Muslims. There may be an individual who, through their ignorance, has been brought into racism, they don't like Muslims. And perhaps they may have an encounter with a Muslim which is positive and it will bring them towards Islam. But then they see something else and they see that a Muslim has been stealing money from the government. They've been claiming something. And this ignorance, which they have not yet utilized their intelligence, their intellect for, grows within them, and they have the negative outlook towards Muslims. We cannot risk this happening. We cannot risk our religion being defamed like this. Our Maraja are very clear on this issue, by the way, in case you think it is just me. Sayyid al-Sistani, may Allah prolong his life, says, it is haram for a Muslim to receive money or wages through illegal means, for example, by giving false information to the government or the authorities. Therefore, if you do it, it is on you. But know that it is haram. Know that you are becoming a thief, you are becoming a liar, and that you are distorting and making the religion of Allah look bad in the eyes of individuals and human beings. So we need to know the foundation of how to behave. And the seerah of Rasulullah and the biography and the lifestyle of Rasulullah is the best example and foundation of how to live our lives. It is the patience that we have when dealing with ignorant people. It is the giving to our neighbours when they have bad news or when they don't have bad news. Constantly looking out for them and seeing how we can help them. And also having forgiveness to our enemies. This is an important thing and perhaps the most difficult thing which we can do. And in order to try and understand how we can forgive our enemies, we can look to the Ahlul Bayt alayhim salam. Of course, Amir al-Mu'mineen is known for his bravery, he's known for his courage. We all see Amir al-Mu'mineen as a warrior on the battlefield, tearing into the enemies, taking down the door of Khaybar, all of these things. And it's correct, it is true. But what we don't talk about maybe enough is the justice of Amir al-Mu'mineen, the fairness, the kindness, the way he would look out for orphans, the way he would take time out of his schedule to go and look after the needy, give money to the poor. In fact, Amir al-Mu'mineen, when he becomes the leader of the caliphate, when he becomes into his rightful position, so much of this is spent looking after the poor people, so much so it takes a toll on his physical health. It takes a toll on his time. We do not appreciate this enough when we talk about him. Amir al-Mu'mineen didn't do it for the camera or didn't do it for the praise. He did it for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and to showcase the beauty of the religion of Islam. Hence why the religion spread so much under Rasulullah and under the Imams. Why people clung on to the Imams so tightly, because they saw how beautiful this religion was. They saw how kind, how patient these men were. And often we see bad behavior being done by Muslims. The one I need to point out today is in public, especially the youth, the shabab. When they are in public, for example, they're on the bus or the train and they're with their friends. I don't know why the trend seems to be for people to try and look cool, dressing in all black, caps, designer clothing, causing problems for other people. You see them the way young people act sometimes, just kids. They start throwing things at people. They're loud on the public transport. They're playing music through their phones. They're swearing, using bad language. You have to understand, when a non-Muslim looks at people who are behaving in this way, they don't see that as a normal person. They instantly associate us with the religion of Islam. Fair enough. We're Muslims, so why are we behaving in that way? Why are we giving them the image that we are rowdy, reckless people who do not care about the rights of others? Our religion, more than any other religion in the world, whether it be Christianity, Judaism, Hinduism, Buddhism, Maoism, whatever it is, has the most emphasis on taking care of other people and respecting their rights. We cannot take a sip of water from somewhere if we do not have the permission of the owner of that land to take the water from it. We cannot go and even pray our salah on land which belongs to someone unless we have their permission. So why then do we feel that we can get away with annoying and abusing other people in public, in the street? It's not acceptable behaviour. Likewise, there are some stereotypes that people have towards Muslim men, and they say these men are not safe to be around women. These men, they always look at women with their eyes, they try and flirt with them in the street, joke with them. Unfortunately, it is a reality. And I'm not going to sit here and say it's not true, because it is unfortunately true in many cases. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gives you very clear commands. When you have a wife, you don't want her to walk in the street with no hijab. Yet when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells you to lower your gaze, it doesn't matter according to you. You are happy to look at any woman in the street. Now, you are happy to look at women, you are happy to try and flirt with them, engage in a haram way with them. Put it on the other shoe. It is your daughter, or it is your sister, or it is your wife. Are you going to accept someone doing that to her? No. In fact, you would probably end up killing them, correct? So the next time you see Muslims, your friends, your family members, people that you are acquainted with doing these things, it is your duty to stop them. And if you don't, then it is cowardice. You are a coward. You are scared. You are a fool. You should be ashamed of yourselves if you do not stop a Muslim who is doing wrong. Does the concept of Amr bil Ma'ruf wa Nahy al Munkar mean nothing to us nowadays? We are so happy to accept people behaving in these ways without us doing anything about it. There needs to be a big change. Otherwise, the problems that Muslims will face in this country will become a lot greater and a lot bigger than what we have just now. You think what we have just now with the racism is bad? No. No. It will come to a stage if Muslims do not perfect their behavior as best they can, that our religion will become outlawed. And this has already happened in various different countries, that this entire religion is squeezed so tight that people cannot practice their faith. So we can't take it for granted. And I'm not saying by any means that this country is perfect, far from it, and I'm the first critic of it. And I'm of the belief that we shouldn't even be living here, we should go back to Iraq. Sometimes the people from Iraq, they come here. Why? What benefit is here that is not in Iraq? What good is here? There's bad here, there's good here. Just the same as back home. But there is better there. Amir al-Mu'mineen gives us an example, but there is one that I want to tell you first from Imam Ja'far al-Sadiq alayhi salam, which is of the utmost importance. He says, become an ornament for us, become something which is a shining example for us. Do not become a disgrace for us. The minute we become a disgrace, representing the name of Islam, representing the name of Ahlul Bayt alayhi salam, we have trodden over the legacy of the Imams. We have trodden over all of the groundwork which was set forward by Rasulullah, all of the difficulties which he had to face when he had the rubbish thrown at him, when he was slandered, when he was abused by all these different people. We walk over it without any care in the world. Amir al-Mu'mineen gives us the guidelines. He says, you should desire for others what you desire for yourself, and hate for others what you hate for yourself. Do not oppress people as you would not like to be oppressed. Do good to others as you would like good to be done to you. Regard bad for yourself whatever you regard bad for others. Accept that treatment from others which you would like others to accept from you, and do not say to others what you do not like to be said to you. Meaning, do not do anything to an individual unless you are perfectly happy with that same thing being done back to you. We are all, as I mentioned, representatives of the Quran and representatives of the Ahlul Bayt alayhi salam. There are some people who we come across in our daily lives who in their whole life will never read one single good thing about our religion. They will never read a book of Islam, they will never read the Quran, they will never read the Hadith, they will never read Sahifa Sajjadiyah, nothing like this. The only time they will encounter the religion of Islam is by encountering a Muslim, by encountering one individual. And the way in which they will base their understanding and perception of this religion of Islam is through the akhlaq and the conduct and the behavior of that person. And so your character, your words, your smile that you give them is of the utmost importance, because you are representing your entire religion in that moment. That is their first introduction to the religion of Islam, and it must be the best introduction possible. And so we should embrace this task, this mission that is given to us by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, to be representatives of our faith, to be representatives of our religion. We should strive to be the trustworthy friend to an individual. We should be an honest student when we are in education. We should be the helpful neighbour who goes out of their way to give food or to give presents to the people who we live beside. We should be the polite colleague who, when we work with others, they know that this man is a Muslim and he has the best behaviour and etiquette. When the women walk past, he lowers his gaze and he treats them with respect. When the men are with him, he treats them with kindness, he treats them with righteousness. And we should be the positive contributor to society. If we are not contributing to society, then what is really our purpose? Is it to stay at home and to do nothing but read the Quran and pray? No. Rasulullah and the Imams spent their entire lifetimes going out and talking to people and helping them and interacting with them. They didn't stay locked behind closed doors and stay away from people. They tried to benefit the society in whatever way they could, and in different ways. For example, Imam al-Sadiq alayhi salam was an educator. He taught people, he established our own madhab, he established seminaries to teach people about the religion of Islam. Imam al-Hussein alayhi salam goes and he tries to benefit society with revolution, with trying to overthrow the evil government. There are different ways in which we can try and contribute. And we should be the living, breathing proof of the Quran, where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, so remember me and I will remember you. By remembering Allah Azza wa Jal in all of our actions and in all of the things we do, in our daily lives, we naturally look and become like a light, like a shining piece of nur that the entire community around us will see and they will want to become close to. They will want to try and lash onto us and learn about our beliefs and learn about our customs. And if we read these verses from the Holy Quran and we talk about all of the ways in which Rasulullah and the A'immah behaved, what do we learn? How do we reform ourselves? How do we reform our mindsets? These verses from the Quran and the behaviors from our holy figures and individuals are trying to train us to become Muslims of the highest and best behavior, and to try and form a strong society and Islamic societies as well. They order us to have justice among people and to treat people fairly and kindly. And lastly, Amir al-Mu'mineen gives us the practical guidance for this. And he tells us how we can actually do this in our lives. The first sentence he says, and the most important, look at the Ahlul Bayt, look at the family of the Prophet. He says, adhere to their direction, follow their footsteps, because they would never let you out of guidance and never throw you into destruction. If they sit down, then you sit down. If they stand up, then you stand up. Do not go ahead of them and make up your own things, because you will go astray. And do not lag behind them and fail to understand them, as you will be ruined. This is the most important thing to do. Learn about the lives of the Imams. Learn about the lives of the women of the Ahlul Bayt alayhim salam. And once you do this, the way in which you are supposed to live your life will become much clearer and much easier for you. And we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to give us all the strength to become the best examples of Muslims as we can, and to become a source of pride, not just for Rasulullah and the A'immah, but especially for the 12th Imam, Imam al-Mahdi Ajalullah Faraj Sharif. And lastly, remember that our actions should speak so much more loudly than the words of some ignorant people, so that the world cannot help but see the beauty of the religion of Islam. And to finish, we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to grant victory to the mu'mineen and mazlumeen, and for all of the shuhada, please recite Surah Al-Fatiha after Salawat ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad.